of that relationship and opened up to new things. And I took back my energy. I set up, my heart was totally perfect. And I told my daughter, we need to get up there and make sure he doesn't send the helicopter. So we started running up the mountain. Now, how did this happen? All of a sudden, I felt like I had energy, more energy than I'd had in 20 years. And so I start running up the mountain. I get going up the, they have these cables that take you up to the top because it's very, very steep, and you have to pull yourself up with these cables, so you have to use your upper body strength. And I felt so strong, I just started going hand over hand, and everybody started clapping and telling me, you can do it, you can do it, and yet I was just going like gangbusters. And I almost got to the top, and my friend started coming off the curve of the mountain. And he says, Scott, how the hell did you get up here? And I said, go tell him not to send the helicopter, I'm fine. And I made it all the way to the top, and I was very amazed. But what happened was the Elohim Masters, this is why I had to go to Half Dome, is the place where the Elohim of the Blue Flame, Hercules, and Amazonia are there. And they literally gave me a new heart. Up until that time, I had murmurs, I had an enlarged heart, my aorta was enlarged and ballooning, and what was interesting was the next time I had an exam by a medical doctor, he's like, this isn't the same heart, this is a heart of a 26-year-old. And he did a side scan, he did all kinds of tests on me, ejection fractions, and I had perfect blood pressure. Everything was normalized, and my heart was perfect. So with the law of association, we can perfect our physical body, which is amazing. So the assignment this week is to pick 1 or 2 angels and 1 or 2 ascended masters to put our focus on and learn about them, talk to them each day, ask them questions, and listen for the answers. Our minds need to be quieted to hear these things. And so all of us can do this. So I'm going to get rid of this and go back to the Zoom. Okay. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Okay, you can take your off. What questions do you have? Anybody have a question?
Are you going to...
I'm going to unmute everybody. I'm hopefully going to unmute everybody. Oh, goodness. Maybe I have to go to a general thing and unmute everybody. Well, I can hear you. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, we are, looks like I'm not unmuted. That's,
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute everybody, so go ahead and ask the first question.
Are you going to do medical intuitive readings on us?
Everybody who paid, the scholarship people, that's the only problem is I can't do it on everybody because I just don't have the time. But those who paid for the mentoring get a free intuitive reading. So yes, I'm going to do that for people. And so just know that you can call the office and make an appointment, and I'll do it for free. So that should be really good and good for people. And it's quite interesting because I've been doing intuitive readings already on some of the people who signed up, and they are really loving it, and it's helping them. And I do that because Saint Germain wants me to help people get closer to the ascension. And one of the ways we can do that is getting rid of the critters in our body that are causing us not to be able to be healthy enough to move forward. And so sometimes we have to do things that will help our bodies get healthier and stronger. Oh, I had a good story from one of the people who started doing the mentoring, and he already is getting a lot of really good information. Who has a question? Uh-oh. I have to mute that one. Okay. Yeah, the phones are kind of making some background noise. So, does anybody have a question they'd like to ask?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Do you have a list you're going to send us of the angels and the ascended masters that we can...
You know, I have I actually did a couple of lectures on the ascended masters and the seven Elohim. And those of you who want that, I'll send you the link to the video and the slides, because I've got those available. So yes, I can send those things to you.
So do you want us to request it?
Yes, because I'll send it to everybody. Well, I'll just send it to everybody. And that way you can pick and choose what you want to do.
And then the second part of that question is, why is it good to talk to the angels and the ascended masters rather than just praying directly to God and getting up to that?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people feel God is unapproachable, and this nebulous thing out there in the universe, you can go directly to God. God is a God of love, and you will get loving information. You will get loving information from God, and it's okay. You can go directly to God. Now, we as humans, we are going through the ascension process. God never went through the ascension process. God is God. And so for us, and this is information coming to me right now from Saint Germain, he's saying we need guidance from those who have done it. And that's why I keep telling everybody we need to associate with the ascended masters. Now, Jesus is an ascended master, and he came to show us the way. In fact, when he ascended during the day of Pentecost, there were thousands who ascended with him because they followed his teachings. And that's why God had to take on a corporal body in order to show us the way. Does that make sense? And so associating with the ascended masters, they are going to help us through the ascension. In fact, Saint Germain had said to me, if we do 51% of the work, they'll bring us the other 49% of the way. Which means we just have to get to the point where we are changed enough that we will go through the ascension, because they will assist us. Any other questions?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to know if there's any benefit to doing the 24-strand manifestation more than one time a day, or is that too much?
Now, that's a good question. Saint Germain told me to have people just do it once a day. If you do it faster, your body can't keep up as well. I had a guy who was doing it like 10, 20 times a day. His wife called me up and said, my husband's he's just going crazy. He's just running around. And I asked her, well, what's going on? She says, he's doing your manifestation too much, I think, and it's making him hyperactive. And the guy was 80 years old, mind you, and it was giving him so much energy and so much change so quickly that he didn't quite know what to do with it. And so I told him to slow down. Does that make sense?
It does. So if you miss a day, can you do it twice next week?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else have a question? If there's no other questions.
I have a question.
Oh, who's this? Go ahead.
Carol, how are you?
I am excellent. How are you?
Good. Good to see everybody. So, I have a question, and you guys may already cover it, but I'm confused when you juggle that energy. That part.
Okay, ask the question again. There was some interference there for a sec.
Okay. I have a question about Jehovah.
Yes.
And is the Jehovah in the Bible the same as empty? And if so, he's Anunnaki.
Now, this is my understanding about Jehovah. If you read the Old Testament, Jehovah is kind of very warlike, very non-forgiving, very controlling, and there's the Lord, on the other hand, who is very loving, very kind, very helpful. And for my understanding, when I asked this same question, I got that Jehovah was actually an Anunnaki.
Yeah.
And was very, very controlling over the human beings. In fact, would have them get in wars with other beings and wipe them off the map. And God doesn't do that. God is love. And so if anything is reacting outside of love consciousness, it's not coming from God. It's. Say that again. Is there another question?
I have one, Scott.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to find it in the, and I'm trying to find it so I can read it. It's part of the protection, but it basically says, I'm going to paraphrase. It says anything that directs something at me that is not right, to send it back 100-fold.
Yes.
I can't find where it is right now.
It's in the decrees.
And remove it from the planet and send it back. When I read that, it was almost like, whoa, that's kind of almost too much. Can we just send it back? I mean,
We're going through a period, and this last new moon, a bunch of people were stating that the people who have not chosen to follow God are not going to follow the Ascension plan. They're also not going to be benevolent human beings. And in the prophecies of, all the ancient prophets and everything, what's going to happen through the ascension process is those who are ready for the ascension will go through the ascension and become ascended beings. The ones who are evil and causing evil things to happen, the Creator is not going to allow them to continue on because they're never going to change. They've become so evil that they're not going to change no matter what anybody does. And so what Saint Germain said is that as we go through the ascension process, those who are good people who don't want to go through the ascension will be allowed to live, but they'll have to be moved off planet because the Earth is going to become a small sun.
Man, who needs to mute out, guys?
And the Ascended Masters are teaching me this also. And so when we go through the ascension process, the good people who don't want to go through the ascension are going to be transported to a new Earth that's going to be brought in the same orbit of Earth, and they will be on a planet without any evil people for at least 1,000 years, according to the prophecies, according to what the Ascended Masters have said to me. And so they'll be living on a very good third dimensional planet, whereas those of us who go through the ascension will be living on a globe that is made of plasma and light, just like our sun. And we will be beings of plasma and light. Now, the beings of plasma and light, they can appear to us here in this third dimension. They've done that to me several times over my last 62 years. And we will be able to appear to our families on this new Earth that are still going to be in the third dimension. So they're not going to allow these evil souls to continue to exist. And I know it sounds cruel and unusual punishment, but they have created so much harm during the entire time of this planet that they will be reabsorbed back into the great central sun. That's what I've been told. I'm just teaching you what I've been told.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I said that's what we're here for. Thank you.
Yes. Go ahead.
I have a question, and the question is, are we going into the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension?
The fourth dimension is where we go when we die, and we either, if we've been really good, we can go through the ascension process into the fifth dimension, or we can be reborn back into the third dimension. The fourth dimension is kind of a holding dimension, and it's a place where we look at our lives and we can move forward into the fifth or come back into the third dimension. It's a difficult place to get rid of karma in the fourth dimension, and in fact it's so difficult, a lot of us have to be reborn to come back and redo our karma. Now, one of the things that's happening is the lords of karma, or the beings who are in charge of our evolution, they are mitigating our karma for us. They're actually taking things that we've done that will keep us from going through the ascension, and they're mitigating it so we can go through the ascension. We just have to choose to follow the path of the Ascended Masters, the evolution that God created for humans to evolve, and we have to change our lives and become better. And through doing that, we actually have many beings out there, including the Lords of Karma, who are clearing out our auric field so we become pure like Jesus, pure like the Ascended Masters. Now, a lot of people ask, well, why can't the evil people do that? Because they don't choose to do it at all. And if you asked them flat out, they would say, you're full of bullshit. And you're never going to go through this type of evolution, and they just want power. They want to corrupt things. It's kind of sad. Oh, we're out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and give a blessing. So we'll do that right now. In the name of the Almighty